Hello everyone. In today's class, I'm going to explain about control structure or control statement. But before that, let us discuss again the few program that we have done. Suppose in this program, I want to calculate the sum of two numbers. So after declaring the header files and inside the main, I declare three variables, two input variables. The first one is NO1 and the second one is NO2, and one output variable, that is sum. So I'm using the CLR function so that I can clean the screen. This stands for clear screen. Then next I ask from the user using cout to enter the first value, and then I accept that value in my variable by using cin. Then next I ask from the user to enter the second value, and I store that second value in the second variable, that is NO2. And then what I did, I calculate the sum of two numbers, that is sum is equal to NO1 plus NO2. After that, what I did, I print out the value, and in the first print statement I print the first value and it's stored in NO1. Therefore I take the value from the variable NO1, and the second value 2 I print out, and I mention cout the second value is NO2, and then I print out the sum. Why I take again this example? Because in case suppose you don't want these two print statement to execute in your program. After you finish to calculate the sum of two numbers, you want to jump straight away over here in the third print statement and print the output. So the question over here, can we do that in our C++ program? And the answer is yes. We can use a statement, or I will say a command to jump from this line straight away to the last print statement and to print out the sum, and that it can be done with the help of the control statement. That means from that example we understand if you want the execution of program to jump or to go from one line to the other line, we can do it with the help of control structure or control statement. So what is control statement? They are the set of statements or elements in the source code or program code that control the flow of program execution. They control what? The flow of the program execution, and they use the logical expression. It can be either a single statement ending with a semicolon or a compound statement block using curly brace, open and closing curly brace, and this type of statement are known as control statement or decision making statement. That means by using the control statement, instead our program will execute sequentially one line after the other. By using control statement or control structure, we can execute, or we can jump, or we can control the flow of execution by using the logical expression, and we can jump from one line to another, or we can make a one single statement to run multiple times. So let's see, we have different types of control statement. So we have different types of control statement. So control statement, like I mentioned, it controls the flow of the execution in the program. So over here when we talk about control statement, can be divided into two. The first one here is the branching statement. So what is branching statement? These statements, they allow the flow of execution to jump to a different part in the program. And the second one we have here is the looping statement, and these looping statement, they allowed the statement to execute multiple times satisfying the given condition. And then branching statement, it get further divided into two. The first one is conditional branching statement, and the second one is unconditional branching statement. Conditional branching statement, it allowed the flow of execution based on the Boolean expression or based on the given condition. An example of the conditional branching is what? If statement, if else statement, switch statement. But unconditional branching does not require the Boolean expression or we don't need to give the condition. Example of those statements are what? Go to statement, break statement, exit statement, and etc. Okay, to understand nicely the branching statement, let's see one program over here I have. In this program, I mentioned that I have two variables, NO1 and NO2, and what I did, I asked the user to input the value, two integers value, and the first value it will store in NO1 and the second value it will store in NO2. And in this program I want to find out which one is the greater number. So over here I mentioned M is equal to N1 is greater than NO2. Then I check which among these two number is greater. If NO1 is greater, then it will take the value of NO1, assign it in M, and it will print the value of M. But in case if the condition become false, what it will do, it will take the value of NO2 and it will assign in M and it will print out the value of M. But over here, instead of using the ternary operator, we can use the conditional statement. Example, I'll use if statement. If NO1 is greater than NO2, then if it is true, then what? I'll print out the value of NO1. Otherwise, if the condition become false, what happen? It will jump to the else statement and it will print the greater value is NO2. Therefore, whenever we talk about conditional branching statement, we have what? A proper condition. But sometimes you don't want to use conditional branching statement. You just want to jump it from one line to another. In that case, you can use the unconditional branching statement. For example, over here I mentioned I want to calculate the sum of two numbers. So I take the value of two integers, one in NO1 and the second one is NO2. I add the value, but over here I don't want to print the value of NO1 and NO2. I want to print straight away the value of the sum. Therefore, over here I'm using the statement go to. Without providing a condition, I just mentioned that I want to go to the line number 11. So I use the statement go to 11. The moment it compile or it execute here, it give the command and it will go to the line 11 and execute this statement and it will print out that the sum is equal to the value that gets stored in the variable sum. And the second statement, like I mentioned, we have the looping statement, and over here what I mentioned, that looping statement, it allowed the single statement or statements to execute multiple times, and that it can do based on the given condition. So whenever we talk about looping statement, again back, looping statement, it get further divided into two. The first one is determinate loop and the second one is indeterminate loop. In determinate loop, okay, we know how many times that particular statement will execute or will iterate, but in indeterminate loop we don't know that particular statement or statements how many times will execute or will iterate. Example of determinate loop is for statement, and example of indeterminate loop is while statement. Okay, let's take this example over here. Suppose I want to execute in my program, I'm having one variable A, and this A, the value is 1. And when I print out the value of a, it will print 1. And over here, this cout statement, I want it to run multiple times, or instead of running only one time, I want it to run 2 times or 3 times. So in that case, what I will use looping statement. I can use over here for statement, or I can use while statement. The moment I'm using these two statements, provide the condition with them, then I can mention that I want this particular statement to run 2 times or 3 times. So looping, it will help a particular statement or multiple statements to run multiple times. So from these few examples that I mentioned, we understand that control statement, it helps to control the flow of the execution in the program. And we have two different type of control statement. The first one is branching statement, and in branching statement, it will execute to a different part, or the flow of execution will jump to a different part of program based on the given condition or without condition. Therefore, branching statement get further divided again back to conditional branching and unconditional branching. And the second one, control statement, it is what? Looping statement. That is, all the statements execute multiple times, or a particular statement execute multiple times, satisfying the given condition. And in looping statement, what we have determinate loop and indeterminate loop. Okay student, then next class I will explain to you about the conditional branching statement.